Coming to you in my car mid-work shift because my friends are cool enough to let me come out here and do the video to save time tonight. It's Wellness Nerd Out time! How you guys doing tonight? Happy Wellness Nerd Out time, folks. And today we're going to be talking about creatine, and in specifically we'll be talking about creatine monohydrate because that is the most well-studied and well-backed form of creatine with scientific research done on human clinical trials. So without further ado, let's get into it. But first, I want to say happy birthday, Michelle Houston. Happy birthday, Shelly. I hope you're enjoying it. We'll talk about her more at the end. But as for now, when we talk about creatine monohydrate, well, it might be a little loud in here the way I'm talking because the echo in the car. I'll try not to break your ears. But when we talk about creatine monohydrate, well, again, that is the most well-backed form, I should say, through studies. And the fact that it is safe, at least for the vast majority of patient demographics, that it increases power output and anaerobic performance. So anaerobic just means without oxygen. And so it's with those high intensity, quick burst type workouts, right? That we're talking here when we say anaerobic performance, right? Because we never say something at When Wellness and don't explain it. It is very well backed. Again, are those three facts about creatine and its benefits that it can have on you in terms of strength, in terms of increasing muscle control in general, and so improving overall mobility, endurance, and things like that, right? So if you're looking to get that extra rep at the end of a workout, creatine may be a great supplement for you to add into your daily routine, and we'll talk about how much and when to take it and things like that here in a minute as well. All right. So what is creatine? What does it do, right? Well, when you think about creatine, I mean, when a lot of people think about creatine, they're like, whoa, I don't want to take that. I'm not trying to, just build muscle and artificially, or, creatine is naturally made in the body. Two, totally. Yeah. Natural supplement right. It makes sense, as you might have guessed. And, creatine is actually not an anabolic thing. And so building, right? It is an energy thing. Creatine is an energy thing because creatine majorly stored in your skeletal muscle, although, you can measure creatine levels to get indicators of how a kidney is functioning, right? It is majorly stored in skeletal muscle, and creatine promotes the production of ATP, adenosine triphosphate. We all know what that is, right? The major stored form of energy in the body. And for that reason, it gives you a little more of a kick and energy for your current workout and for your workout the next day and in the future, because again, we can store creatine in our skeletal muscles, right? So similar analogy to glycogen, right? If you have carbs the day before and you store it as glycogen to have energy for that next workout. What up, C. Frivola? How you doing? Zach Aposia, 2222. What's up, baby? How you doing? Thanks for hopping on. I love you, man. So, when we talk about, kind of how creatine works, well, creatine acts as an osmolyte. And what osmolytes do is they suck in water. They suck water into the cell, I should say, or into the skeletal muscle, because the goal here is to promote hydration and overall health of the cell in this sense, majorly with, again, promoting hydration and water influx. So yes, it is true that creatine can cause water retention. That's not a myth. That is true. However, if you supplement with creatine all the time, right, even if you take large amounts like creatine loading, which we'll talk about here in a minute, how much that is, once you stop taking it, even temporarily for, a day or a couple days, even at the most, that water retention will go down. So it's well worth getting that improvement in your anaerobic performance, in your power output and your strength, right? And your mobility to get that temporary bloating, if you will, right? That water retention. And if you stay on the lower end, around 3 to 5 grams of creatine, which 5 grams is generally recommended what you should take per day to have ample stores in your skeletal muscle if you've taken creatine before. But if not, you can load with it first. And again, we'll talk about that in a second. You really, I think, would be crazy to sacrifice what you can get out of a workout just to worry about a little bit of water retention, for a day or two. And again, 3 to 5 grams will maybe help to alleviate that side effect of water retention and bloating. So you could even just have a little bit of it if you don't want any temporary bloating or water retention, right? But still want some of the benefits. So, we said that it's safe for the vast majority of patient demographics, but who is it not safe for? Well, a select few. And in particular, people that are taking medications that make them more susceptible to renal damage or to kidney damage, we could say, right? So again, if you're taking any other supplements or medications that make you more susceptible to suffering kidney damage, creatine is definitely not for you. And in addition to that, if you take diuretics due to renal disease or kidney disease, right? Or kidney dysfunction, we could say, then, you would be counteracting that by taking creatine because, again, it's an osmolyte and it promotes water retention. So it wouldn't make any sense to take it if you are on diuretics with some sort of kidney disorder, right? So, and we said before in the video how creatine can be a marker of your kidney function. And so it makes sense, right? How we're talking about the kidney here. Playing a major role in those patient demographics that should think twice about taking their creatine, right? No matter how good it is for the rest of us. So what do we mean by creatine loading? Well, creatine loading is taking 20 to 25 grams of creatine per day. That's a lot of creatine, 20 to 25 grams. So, you split this into 5-gram doses at a time throughout the day. You could take them all throughout the day, really. And, some studies say it is more beneficial, although this is up to debate, to take that 5-gram dose of creatine before or right after your workout. So, but the vast majority of studies out there say that you can take them anytime throughout the day, get the same benefits. So, take that to the bank with you, all right? So on top of that, we talk about creatine loading after you've loaded. So how long you load for? 7 days. 7 days. That's how long you take 20 to 25 grams a day if you've never taken creatine before. Then after that, 5 grams of creatine per day should be sufficient to maintain optimal amounts of creatine stores in your skeletal muscle and to get that great bang for your buck energy-wise in your workout, get a few extra reps, and so on, improving your overall fitness, right, and so on. All right. Now, interesting fact: when you stir your creatine into liquid, so say water, I like to just take creatine monohydrate and water. You're better off with cold water because in hot or warm water, sure, it's got to be a certain temperature. We don't know the exact temperature here, but the warmer the water, the higher the chance that some of the creatine actually can be degraded before you take it in and it reaches the tissues in your body to have its effect. So keep that in mind. You're better off putting it in cold liquids, whether it's a smoothie or you're putting it in cold water. And if you get an upset stomach easily, then take your creatine with food and it should help out, right? And again, break the doses. If you are going to load, break the dosages into 5 grams a few different times, 4 to 5 times throughout the day. All right. So that's your fun little gist on creatine for the day, people. That's your When Wellness discussion. And before we go, though, we're going to talk about Michelle Houston because it's your birthday. We always give people a birthday shout out here at When Wellness. Happy birthday, Michelle. I really hope you had a great day today. I hope you're having an even better night. And, I always say something about people on here for When Wellness birthdays, and I never like to think of it before. I like to just, speak from my heart and from my mind at the moment. And when I think of Michelle, or when I think of you, if you're watching this, if you don't get to see it, no biggie. But when I think of Michelle, think of someone that I had a lot of great times with, going to the bowling alley, going to Miller's, drinking Mad Elf, whatever, just so many fun things that we had done, going to concerts, maybe a little open bar before. I'm not recommending you drink here at When Wellness, but those were my more youthful days. Now I'm wiser, so I realize alcohol is terrible for you, so we stay away from it now. But just a lot of great times. And, when Michelle would walk into a room, she would light it up with, her, not with, any sort of aesthetic implication there, just with, obviously you're pretty too, but just with your energy. You always had great energy. And, sometimes people, they come into a room and they're like a dark cloud, but, you always brought good energy. And, when you think of life, you think of a book of many chapters. And the chapter that I had when I was hanging out with you and we were spending time together, having fun, doing these fun things in our youth, it was a great chapter, and you take it for what it is. And, wherever you're at in life right now, I hope it's a great place. I'm sure it is. If you kept that positive attitude and that natural sense of excitement for life, which I hope never leaves you, right? Of course, I'm sure you're doing great. And I want you to know 100%, this one is for you. So it's your day in the When Wellness book. We got a lot of days, but this one's yours. All right, so happy birthday, Michelle. Thank you guys very much. What up, Hunter? What up, Mel? Have a great rest of your night. Flip the switch. I saw you come on here at the bell, but we're still going to say hi to you. We'll see you tomorrow, folks. And enjoy your day tomorrow. Happy When Wellness. Thank you so much.